We're about 10 kilometres to the north of Bani Walid, Timur, and we have been hearing from the fighters this morning. They're telling us that their colleagues down to the north of the city have now secured the gate to the north, and they say Bani Walid fighters who are within the brigades here, who come from the city, are now inside the city, and they telling us that they've met up with some of the anti-Gaddafi forces, anti-Gaddafi residents inside that city, and they're directing them as to where snipers may be and where Gaddafi forces may be. We sat quite close to here last night, very close to this main road here, and we saw more reinforcements arriving in the middle of the night who have now come down, and that may be the reason for that, because speaking to the chief negotiator at about dawn this morning, he was telling me that they are hearing that there have been reinforcements for the Gaddafi forces brought in from Sirte and from Sabah. I don't know whether that's true or not. We had thought that the roads to those two areas had been cut off, but they're telling us that they believe more artillery, more heavy gunfire has been brought in, and that's why they continue to beef up this front line further down behind me here to try and react to the sort of firepower, the sort of bombardments the troops are getting down here.
Which raises a few questions about the coordination, doesn't it, Sue? I mean, we were talking yesterday about the delicacy of this particular operation and a certain amount of, I guess, uncertainty within the leadership of the NTC. Are you getting the sense here that the action that we're seeing today is a coordinated plan, or much more random than that?
Certainly late last night, when we were first hearing that they had got into the city, we spoke to the chief negotiator and two of the field commanders who had come up here to explain why they'd gone in, and they were all saying the same thing. They were saying they had no intention of going into the city yesterday because they still hadn't been given this green light by the National Transitional Council. But because they were interacting with the Gaddafi forces, because they were continuing to fight, they kept pushing back, and they eventually got to the gates of Bani Walid, and at that point they were taking sniper fire. So they said they had no choice but to go in there and try and take out the snipers. They are being very careful to say this is not the full-scale attack. They are just dealing with the sort of bombardment that they are taking on all the time. But it certainly does look like they are going now street to street. So I don't know whether this is semantics we've got going on here to try and save face, because obviously the National Transitional Council have not said go yet. But there has always been an atmosphere here of this is our city we're dealing with. This brigade, many of whom are from Bani Walid, they are Wafala tribe. They want to sort out their own tribal problems, if you like. And there is also a sense we're hearing of sort of tribal pride. They really want the people within Bani Walid to rise up so they can say in the history books, we did this ourselves. We didn't have fighters coming in from outside. We actually uprose, we actually got rid of the Gaddafi forces within our own city. So I think that might be why there is this sort of separation between what the National Transitional Council is saying and what's the reality on the ground.
All right, Sue Turton, live near Bani Walid. Thanks, Sue.